everyone. Welcome to the introductory episode of Jeff and John's Excellent Adventure.
I'm Jeff Strauss.
I'm John Mills, and we just wanted to take a couple of minutes and introduce ourselves and what we're trying to accomplish by creating this podcast named after a hashtag that really is kind of weird and started out kind of as a joke. Actually, we didn't even start there. Jeff, talk a little bit about where this hashtag thing came from.
It was a joke. It's still kind of a joke in a way, but it's turned into something a lot more, right? So the sort of quick version of this for people who don't know us or don't know, John and I go way back. We've known each other for around 10 years. We've been friends, about a decade, both from not only speaking at conferences, but running events. We are two of the people who help run the Kansas City Developer Conference every summer. And we've traveled quite a bit together. But last fall, about a year ago, it was last November, we got to go on a little bit more adventurous of a trip than we'd done before, where we spent, 14, 16 days, something like that, together in very close confines, traveling across 4 countries and 2 continents, and still don't hate each other. It's great. To a couple different conferences. We were in the Netherlands and Belgium and a few days in Paris, and we were in Morocco for 4 or 5 days. And so being the procrastinator I am, I was packing, like 8 hours before my flight left for a 2-week trip, late the night before, and I'm getting things together, and I threw together a tweet that basically said, hey, I'm getting ready for this big trip with John Mills. I guess I should start packing. Hashtag Jeff and John's Excellent Adventure. And I showed it to my wife, who immediately told me it was the stupidest thing she'd ever seen.
Right, because she's smart. We like her.
She's smart. She is. But I said, no, it's not. No, it's amazing and it's brilliant. You just wait and see, even though I was just kind of making a joke.
And we discovered that she was right.
Well, yes. But we went on this trip, and over the course of the 2 weeks, we just started using it everywhere. I was like, because John replied, oh my God, we have a hashtag. And then so we started using all these photos and tweets and Facebook posts. By the time we got to Morocco, like 2 weeks later, we showed up at this event in a community where we really didn't know very many people at all. And people were like, Jeff and John, you're here. We've been watching your travels, getting ready, and excited that you're going to be coming here. And it was kind of an eye-opener. It's like, oh, why, yes, we are. We are here. We're I guess we're onto something. And so we kept using it even after we got back. Right, and it was really a few months later, the Microsoft MVP Summit, when I think, John, you ran into someone who basically said, okay, you guys are still using this hashtag, like your trip was in November, your adventure's over, why are you still using it, right?
Right, and so what's interesting about that is that actually led to a lot of conversations between the two of us about what really that even means, because when we think back to our trip, one of the cool parts about it was our trip started by hanging out in Amsterdam, and we got to sit down with a guy I had only met maybe a couple months before at the Pluralsight's Authors Summit, RJ, who lives in the Netherlands, and he took us out for Indonesian food, because when you're in a foreign country, it's best to go eat food from another foreign country. And so we hung out with him and his girlfriend, who's from Moscow, and it was just a very interesting dynamic. And as we went through this trip from the Netherlands all the way to Morocco, the thing that was very interesting to me, especially sitting in Morocco, so a 98% Muslim country in Africa, we were talking about all the same things, right? We were making Docker jokes, and we were talking about React, and they had seen some of my videos. And so we just kind of sat down and talked about tech the same way we would talk about tech here at home. And so the more we travel and the more we meet people from all over the world, there's 2 things that I find very interesting. One is we're all very similar, and maybe more so than what I would have expected. One, because most of the people I talk to are technologists, and so that's a common bond that we can come together over, and we're all fighting the same battles, and we talk the same language. The other thing that I find interesting is we're all very different, which may sound weird, but it's true, in that we all are looking at the world through a slightly different lens. Whether you're in Morocco or whether you're in the Netherlands or whether you're here in the States, the way you approach the world is potentially fundamentally different. And that was, I think, the most evident when we were back in the Netherlands again just a couple months ago, and we were having dinner, again, Indonesian food in the Netherlands. It's a thing. with two guys from the Midwest, a guy from the Netherlands, and a couple of people from Russia talking about international politics, and just the thoughts and the way they approach topics is just fundamentally different. And the more we talked about it, the more we decided really that's the adventure. The adventure isn't necessarily going to different places. The adventure is meeting a bunch of different people.
Exactly right. The adventure is about the people. And we've had that conversation with a lot of people over the last 12 months when people ask us about the hashtag and about sort of the things we do online. And we keep saying, it's really about seeing what makes people tick in their respective communities, in their respective lives. And, it ties back into like a conversation that we had with Todd Gardner. Actually, same thing comes up. We already, spoiler, we already recorded episode 1. We're going to call this episode 0. We already recorded episode 1. The same thing comes up, so you'll hear this again. We had a conversation with Todd Gardner, John and I did several months ago about conferences and about speakers. And, because us running KCDC, we have a lot of debate about, where you bring your speakers from, and do you keep with local and regional speakers or people from around the world? Does it really matter when you're running an event in Missouri that you have a speaker coming from, Finland to come talk about data when you have people right here in Kansas City? And I think that to a certain extent it does, not because they know something different about data, but because they're bringing their own unique perspectives from their own cultures, from their own ways of looking at problems and communicating. And through that lens, they provide people and provide our own communities with new ways of looking at things and new ways of tackling problems. And, but that kind of leads to where we are here with the show, right? Because what we started realizing over the last few weeks, again, talking more about some of these ideas, we've had a couple of big trips already this fall. We have one coming up in 2 weeks, is how do we bring this a little bit further? Because there's only so much we can do with an event, right? There's only so much that we can do to bring some speakers and bring different perspectives together and bring people together. But we can take a show like this and we can interview and have conversations with community leaders and event organizers and people who influence their own respective technology and personal communities around the world, and bring them all together and let people kind of share and facilitate these conversations through something like this, way more so than we can ever do with just a single event or a single meetup, right? And so that kind of brings us to what we're trying to do, I think, with the show, right? If you want to talk a bit about that, John, with kind of what we're going to do and where we're going with all this.
Right. So the whole idea behind the show is to bring that experience here and provide it to a wider audience. So over the first several episodes, we've got community organizers from Morocco or from Lithuania or from Omaha. And what you'll find is that these communities are not as different as you think they are. Right. So when we sit down and we talk to Badr in Morocco about women in technology and the things they're doing with diversity in their event, or we talk to the people in Omaha about connecting people together and those types of topics, it's amazing how much you can learn from people who are fighting similar battles all over the world.
Right, exactly. So what we're going to do here is basically, we don't know what our cadence will be, but we're hoping for maybe keep a cadence about one episode a week, thereabouts, where we're going to try to bring those community leaders to this show and have casual conversations. I'm sure we'll come into every conversation, I think, with one or two main ideas or topics that we think would be valuable to discuss with that particular guest, but then sort of take it easy and relax and see where the conversation goes and have sort of very informal discussions around community and around not only the developer community, but community in general. And see what see where it goes, see where it takes us. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
Absolutely. I think this will be a lot of fun, and it'll be pretty eye-opening for everybody who gets a chance to watch it. So if you have suggestions, and this is a big part because Jeff and I don't know everybody. We don't even nowhere close to know everybody. And so if you have suggestions for communities that you find interesting or that are fighting interesting battles or they're doing things a little bit different, let us know about them, either in the comments here or hit us up on Twitter or however you want to do it. Let us know about some of these communities so that we can bring them here.
Yeah, and I want to point out real quick, just for what it's worth, the word community can mean a lot of different things, right? So, the first episode 1 that'll be coming up, will be with Nate Taylor and Brian Pope. They're the guys from Omaha. They're starting a new conference called Connect-Aha. We have a couple other episodes lined up already with other conference organizers, but I don't want people to get the idea that this is just about conferences. I'm sure there'll be a big part of it because conference leaders tend to be big community leaders and influencers.
Hopefully, right.
But hopefully, right. But to my point, a community could be an event or a meetup. It could be just about a demographic region. It could be about people supporting a particular technology stack that's maybe lesser known. It could be people who are representing and trying to advocate for groups of people who are in underrepresented communities, who we wish we could grow their presence in our industry. So community can mean a lot of different things, and we want to talk to people who represent all those different ways that community can be interpreted.
No, absolutely. So
all right. So that's basically who we are and what we're trying to do. Keep an eye on jeffandjohn.com. We will periodically, in theory, be blogging there every once in a while. We'll be publishing these episodes there, also on our YouTube channel. I feel silly saying subscribe, but hey, subscribe. YouTube's like a new thing. Have you ever done a YouTube show of any kind, John?
I've never done a YouTube show of any.
So subscribe. And
right there won't be a button where I'm pointing, but that's what everybody else.
Let's pretend there's a button there, and just keep an eye out and let us know what you think. Let us know your ideas. Don't be afraid to reach out. Tell us what you like, what you hate, and we'll try to make this the best show we can.
Excellent. Thanks for watching.
All right. See you guys later.